All right, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Paula Montgomery from Desert Cat Creations, and I want to welcome you to the Bead Stash Challenge. It's week 23, and today we are going to draw to see what we're going to make live on Thursday. And we are also going to do a little project. I bought some beads that I've been wanting to make something out of, and they're not, if I want to just stick a wire or something through them, they don't hang quite like I'd want them to hang. So we're going to talk about some ways to make them behave in the way we want them to, okay? So that's going to be our project today. I also want to talk about my summer sale. So I'm going to offer 20% off all my kits, cards, and beads. This will be at least through the end of June, and then we'll look at it. We may run it through the 4th of July at least anyways. But if you saw at the beginning, I had a code that I'm going to put on the website. Now, don't try it yet because I haven't put it on the website yet. But if you want to order directly from me, you can do that, and I will automatically apply the coupon for you, okay? So right now, we'll plan on running this through the 4th of July. I don't even know what day of the week that is, whether it's a weekend or something, but I will finalize the end date, but definitely through all of June. So if you haven't, if you've been missing out on anything or want some replacement beads, you know, some of our bead mixes, they're all still available. All those will be available. Hey, Lorraine. So, hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend. It's nice and warm here in in Arizona. I'm in the Tucson area. We actually went out and ran around a little bit on Friday. There was a restaurant opening, grand opening. We tried to go there. There's a new German beer garden. It's actually run by actual Germans. But it was so crowded we had to leave, and which is great for them, but we'll try it again in a few weeks. But yeah, you wouldn't think of Tucson and German food, but we are a UNESCO city for food. Okay, we're one of the few around here that I don't know how many other UNESCO cities exist for food, but we are definitely one of them. So that's pretty cool. So we, you know, it's not all Mexican food, but that is our core, excuse me, our core food source, right? So, all right, so let's get started. Let's go ahead and draw and see what we're going to make this week. So let me, excuse me, I'm still coughing, yeah. So here's my code for the website. Like I said, I will put that out there later today, but right now, you know, if you want to order anything in the meantime, you can just direct message me. I apparently am going to have to drink more today. So, all right. So, summer 20, all right? And maybe we'll do a reminder of what we have, but later. But all right, so let's see what we're going to make this week. Look at how small my pile is getting. So it's almost time to flip everything over, and then anything can happen, right? So those of you that are new to us, we use our Bead Stash Challenge cards, and the first thing we do is we draw a make card. There's 3 different kinds of cards in here. I use cards from all 5 of our current decks. So we have deck 1, which is the base deck, which if anybody should start with if they're just starting out. We have our color expansion deck. We have our non-jewelry and findings expansion deck. We have our sun and sea deck and our desert southwest deck. So everything is in here, all right? So what are we going to make this week? All right, we're going to make a tassel. So, you know, when you get something like this, you could just make the tassel and use it in a project later, or you can make a project that incorporates a tassel, okay? So either of those is allowed. So sometimes I let the rest of the cards guide me on what I'm going to do regarding my tassels. So the next thing we're going to do is draw use cards. And these are the things I am going to pull from my bead stash to use in my project. Okay? So we are going to use shaped beads in our design, something other than a round or roundel, since those are very popular design. You know, we want to shake it up a little. We are going to use metal beads in our design. So, you know, we can use metal beads that aren't round or roundels. And we are going to use gemstone chips in our design. So you can, if you're just starting out, if you're joining us, you can draw 1 card, you can draw 3 cards, you can draw 5 cards if you are so desired. It is completely up to you. I think 3 is a good thing. Sometimes it's hard to, you know, it's very easy to incorporate a couple of those, and then the third one is kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to get that in there. I see we got a lot of glare on the cards, sorry, but it's the gemstone chips there. You know, I always post the cards on Mondays, so you'll see them. All right, our final kind of card for the week is our challenge deck. And these add a theme or a design aspect that we have to incorporate into whatever we're making. So we are going to design something inspired by a tropical island. Been drawing a lot of beach cards lately, so that's okay because it's summertime. All right, so we are going to make a tassel. We are going to use shaped beads other than round or roundels. Now that doesn't mean I can't use rounds. I just have to have something that isn't a round, okay? We're going to use metal beads in our design. And we're going to use gemstone chips in our design. So just to, you know, if you're new, when we're making a tassel, I don't have to, if I'm just making the tassel, I have to include all those things in there, right? But if I'm incorporating the tassel into something else, my project just has to include all those things, all right? So just keep that in mind in case you're unsure how this all works. If you're new to our hanging out with us and you want to play along but you don't have cards yet, oh, no problem, Janelle. Anyways, if you're new and you don't have cards yet and you want to play along, you're welcome to use my cards. You're welcome to use Janelda's or Lorraine's, you know, everybody, anybody who posts their cards. And just let us know which cards, you know, or whose cards you used for your project, so we can see, you know, what you did with those same cards. Okay. So, Janelle, we just drew. We haven't really gotten very far. Anyway, if anybody's watching the replays on YouTube, you're always confused as to why I'm talking to people. But when we're doing this live on Facebook, there's actually comments coming in from people that are watching me live. So I am conversing with them. I know it's a little confusing if you're watching this after the fact or recorded, because you can't always see all the comments. But it's just the way it works out. I have, you know, I talked about doing it live on both systems at the same time, but you guys would still have the same problem of not being able to see comments on both systems. So anyways, hey Veronica, good to see you. So anyways, I told you the other day I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to work on today, but I have a few things. I was going through some of the stuff I bought at the gem show this year. And sometimes I buy things just because I think they're interesting. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do with them till later, but excuse me. I bought 2 different strands of these carved eagles. Goodness, I don't know why I'm having a hard time today. I apologize in advance. I'm going to have to drink my drink. So, anyways, I pulled out these eagles, and I was thinking they'd be fun, you know, with all the America 250th celebrations coming up, and, you know, make some cute earrings and all that. But I hadn't done anything with them yet, so I pulled them out. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to pull out a long piece of wire just so you can see. So the hole in these goes, it goes through the middle, but so they end up hanging, if you were to just attach them to something, it would hang like that. So I'm going to put them against this circle so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay. So if they were hanging straight up and down, it would be like that, which is fine. But I think they would look way better if the, you know, the wing was what was on top. Let me take this wire out now. So what do you guys think? Do you like it with the wing on top? So he looks like he's perched, right? Or straight up and down like that. What do you guys think? Would you do him straight up and down, or would you do him so he looks like, so the wing is at the top? I just thought it was a little easier to show with it on this. Anybody have an opinion on how my eagle should should hang? So I know, you know, sometimes you get beads in they're a little off, especially if you get wing, you know, something that's shaped, or an animal or something, you know, it might hang funny if you just do it. So you like the wing on top too? Yeah. So I was trying to think, you know, what's the best way to make it hang how I want it? And I actually think the best way is to maybe put it on the circle that then I can adjust to hang whatever direction I want to hang. You guys like the wing at the top too? Yeah, because like I said, I don't know, the hole, I get why they put the hole there, and probably if I was drilling the hole, I'd have done the same thing, but because it's shorter than going through here, because it, you know, it might have been nice if it came out the feet. Now, you know, if you're somebody who is good with a drill and doesn't think you'll break things, you could always, you know, drill a new hole. But instead, we are just going to wire wrap it onto this loop. So this is an option for doing something. Now, you could also do wire wrapping without putting it on a loop. That would create would certainly create a it so that you could hang it in whatever direction you wanted to. So I'm gonna wire wrap on this loop. I'm using some 24 gauge wire, and I am just putting some wire on there. Now I could, and we'll see if we need to, I could also put some beads on here to kind of get this at the right angle. I was trying to think, see if I could, you know, if I do this right, I can minimize the wire showing if I get the wire to go right up next to him and then come right by his tail. But I think that's going to be harder than if I just do sort of a vertical vertical attachment. So let's just do that, okay? Now this loop happens to be, you know, the right size that the edges, you know, don't end up in the middle. Kind of like my coyote that I guess I never did finish showing you guys, those coyote earrings I made. Now see, it is moving around, which means I kind of want something in there. So actually I am gonna take this out. I segment wire since I hadn't cut it or not too far yet. And I was thinking I would just stick I have some clear crystals here because I was thinking they wouldn't show much if I so that may keep him from moving around a little bit if I put this clear crystal down there. Let's see what happens when we tighten this up. We're just experimenting here, so. All right, but I do want to make sure that, you know, the edges of the bird end up on the edges of this wire. So he's moving around a bit. Now, what I might have to do is just take some more wire and maybe go across the back to kind of hold him in there a little. So I'm on the back side now. And I'm going to, I don't know where I'm going. You know, sometimes you'll have to either, like I said, put some beads in there to kind of hold it steady, or in this case, I might have to go around the head or the wing, in which case I probably should have cut more wire. Wasn't thinking I needed it here. But like I said, we're experimenting, so let me one of the reasons I'm using really thin wire though too is so that I can so that my wire isn't overpowering my design here, or my bead. So there I'm pulling. I did end up putting a little bit around his head. know, we'll see if that holds it. Like I said, we're just experimenting here. We may not actually finish a project today. We may just end up talking about this. All right, so by putting a little wire around his head, which isn't too noticeable, what I could do now is wrap something around back here. I was gonna maybe use a piece of leather. And maybe, you know, tie it so that it comes out right at the top of his wing. And then I was thinking I have these other beads. These are mala beads from Phil when he came to Stars Beads one of the times. We were just talking about him the other day. Let's see. Trying to see if it's wide enough to get two pieces through. It may not be. Should be though. I did get. I'm going to put my leather at a slight slant so that it'll be easier to feed it through. And I'm just sort of twisting it on here. So both these mala beads and the eagles are carved out of bone, so it's harvested. It's not, you know, not ivory or something that wouldn't be allowed, right? So there we have that. I've got a bead on there. I could put multiple beads on there, but kind of make a cute pendant. It's a little large for an earring, but it could work, right? And then I could just I can make a loop and hang this off of something, or I can get out one of those metal pieces and put on there so that it hangs off of there. But be a fun pendant. And by using this clear crystal, it, you know, from a distance, nobody's going to see it, right? And they're not really going to see his head being captured on there, right? So, you know, another way we could do this if we didn't want the ring on the outside would be to sort of create a frame for him. Let's see what we can do there. Since this is a kind of a brown, I might pull out my copper wire to do this. All right, I'm going to use some 24 gauge wire because I don't want to, like I said, make it overpower the color. So I am just going to cut off a length of wire here. And let's see what we want to do here. I think I will actually put a wrapped loop at one end. Okay. And you know, this 24 gauge is not real strong, but it'll actually hold. And another. Set that guy aside for a minute. All right, so I have a loop in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wire in my bird here, and what I want to do is put this loop at the top of his wing. So I'm just going to hold it there. I don't want to pull it all the way down. And I'm going to just kind of wrap around his feet. And maybe the end of the tail. And then I think I'll wrap around this outside here. And when I get to the top, I can wrap this. So what I did was I just took it around the outside. And now I'm making a loop at the top of his wing. Now to try to hold that in place a little better, I'm also going to, because this is nice thin wire, I'm going to stick it down through that hole again if I can get out the bottom, which I might not be able to because I've got wires crossing there. Let's see. Should be able to. There we go. And we're just making this up as we go along. But, you know, we want to secure this guy so it doesn't slide off. So I think this time I'm going to come around the back here, and what I'm going to do is grab this wire down here because I don't want it sliding around. So I'm just going to kind of hold that, wrap it back. You know, you may want to pick which side is your front and which side is your back, but you know, if you have a back here, you can also bring your wire back up here, come through there. And you're just kind of building the framework on the back so that, you know, that wire holds. It's pretty good there now. So it's not moving much, which is what I want. And then I just have to figure out, you know, the best way to tuck this around. So And I'm just going to pull that tight, and then we're going to trim that. And tuck that in. And I want to tuck my end in there a little bit. So there's how I end up doing that, and now I can dangle him from the top of the wing. What do you guys think? So now I could make, you know, some earrings. This is, well, I mean, I could make this an earring. I don't mind big earrings, and I still might. Now, if I was making these, if I was making 2 of these to use as earrings, right, I would make one going the other direction. So my frame would have to be on the back side. So you just have to pay attention to what you're doing. But what do you think? Is that something something worth playing with? What do you think? Should this be a pendant or a because I can just put one of those, like I said, I can put a connector on the top to allow me just to hang it. Or I can do, like I said, the loop with leather and just tie it. You like both ways, Janelda? So, you know, the main point of this is don't be discouraged if the holes don't go quite the way you want. Like I said, for something like this, it was a fairly easy fix. Just trying to think if I had coated wire. You know, I probably didn't need to go around his feet, but I think it'll hang nice and straight now. So yeah, I think I'll make this into a little pendant. If anybody wants some of these eagles, I do have them in 2 shades. Let me show you what I have. These may look sort of native carved or something, but they are from Indonesia, or where are they from? The Philippines or something. I don't know. Anyways, I have more of the kind of bone colored, the darker bone colored with the brown. I also have, this is a whole necklace. Okay. These ones don't have the shading on them. They're just white. And there is one big pendant size one. Now see this one though, it looks like the hole goes across the top of his wing. But anyways, my plan was just, you know, to cut this up and use them separately. I don't think I need a whole necklace of eagles, but anyways, if anybody's interested, let's see. Let's see. I'd sell them for $1 a piece. Yeah. if anybody wants any eagles. So let me know. If you want the big eagle, yeah, he'd probably be $3. I only have one of him, though. But anyways, if you'd like any eagles, let me know. They're, like I said, $1 piece, and we have the brown or the white. And if you didn't tune in earlier, we are running a sale. So I don't have the code up on the website yet, but the code's going to be summer 20. But those of you who would like to go direct from me can. So we have, all our beads, bead mixes. If you're out of any of like the findings kits, the cards, want an extra deck of cards for anyone or anything, everything is 20% off, at least through July 4th. I got to look at the dates. I'll go a little past July 4th, but, it's summer and it's time to play. So, I think the next couple weekends, we are going to play on Sundays with our, some of our beads and findings kits. And just see what we can make with them. Just to remind everybody what's out there, so. All right. You like the white eagles? Yeah, like I said, I don't know why the brown ones were in a strand, but I could have bought this one. They also had these in like horses or something, but I only bought the eagles. I did not buy the horses. Horses were very big this year. But yeah, my idea was to cut this part, but you know what? Okay. There we go. How's that for an eagle necklace? So, you like the off-white eagles? Okay. Well, like I said, if you just direct message me how many you would want if you want some. And like I said, if you want to take a look at if you're missing anything else. The only thing I won't make the 20% off on is wire. But I could probably offer you, I don't know, 10% off. But right now I will tell you that I think Softflix is still running their craft wire sales. So if you need anything, but I do have some wire. So, alrighty. So, there you go. I mean, just like I said, feel free to use some wire to change it up a little bit. I think that's going to be a pretty cute thing. Now, I could just as easily put wire on here. I just thought the leather kind of brought out the design. Of course, I only had rings in silver, so a copper ring would have been even better, huh? Or you can just hang them, and I think, like I said, these would definitely make a earring. So, all right. Thanks again for joining me. As always, I love having you guys all join me. Appreciate all the likes and follows. You know what? We're above 200 followers on Desert Cat Creations, and we've almost hit 100 on Facebook. So on YouTube. So anybody who wants to subscribe to us, I would very much appreciate it. And as always, free ways to help support businesses is to just like and follow their social media stuff. If you want to play along with us, you're feel free to use the cards in our Bead Stash Challengers group that are posted there. Just let us know whose cards you're using so we can see how your design does against the cards. And like I said, it's always fun to see, on one set of cards what different people come up with. So anyways, I'd love to see you guys play along with us and post things on there. So I will see you all on Thursday for making our tassel. Our project will have a tassel in it. It will also have shaped beads, metal beads, and gemstone chips. And it will be inspired by a tropical island, which I think is going to be a lot of fun to play with. So, all right, you guys have a great week, and I will see you on Thursday at noon Pacific.